Alright, and we're back with Game 2 of the Solaire Club taking on Ride My Rocket in the Losers Bracket Semifinals of Gold Cycle 6. Game 1, going to RmR in a pretty quick fashion, about 25-minute victory right there, as they easily dispatched a very greedy draft from Solaire Club that did not work, and it did not work quickly. And RmR basically running train 38, 39 hero kills like that, something like that in 25 minutes. It was pretty ridiculous, the amount of action that was happening. And well, it's a fun game to watch, at the very least. Maybe not for Solaire Club, but definitely for us. So, Game 2 well underway with the draft. Parasite and Swiftblade getting taken out by Pingu. Ophelia and Cthulhufen get banned out by Justman. So, I think it's Boz that's playing the... Boz is playing the mid. Staff that's playing the Ophelia, the jungle. What am I even talking about? I should know that crap. So, he will not have access to two junglers at the very least right there, and the third going to be taken off the board with the first pick by the Hellborn side, that is the Tempest, into Prisoner and Torture, so much less greed, at least in the early part of this draft for Solaire Club. Perhaps they have learned their lesson a little bit. Legion's going to start out with Kraken, Glacius, and Bubbles, so that Tempest was available early on, but they actually have two heroes that are going to be very good at canceling that Tempest hole, so going to be difficult for Noob McNoob on the Tempest to get off a particularly good ultimate, although he is a very comfortable Tempest player, one of his better heroes in my opinion, so wouldn't be surprised to see him pull some good stuff out anyway. And Solaire Club facing elimination right here as they are down 0-1 in the losers bracket, and this could potentially be the end of the road for them in Cycle 6. They're going to need to come back in this game and then win a potential Game 3 if they want to advance on, and it's going to be difficult to do against a very good RmR team. Kind of new, but a lot of recognizable names and some pretty good talent, as we saw in Game 1. And Solaire Club on the back foot, not really where they want to be, of course. Clanks, Silhouette, and Puppet Master will be the three bans for Pingu's side. Corrupted Disciple, Oogie, and Ravener get taken out by Justman, so both teams lacking a short laner, and both teams trying to ban out the other side. It's kind of interesting, once again, that SolC would ban out the Oogie, considering how well Cannondorf plays it. Pingu is another Oogie player, but I feel like Cannondorf has the better Oogie when we match the two up. And Pingu himself, a very good Silhouette player, so that's kind of a strange ban as well. The Ravener getting taken out of the pool. That's obviously been a more powerful hero in Cycle 7, but at this point, not really a hero I feel like is worth a ban. Apparently just been feeling otherwise, but oh well. Keep of the Forest will be the fourth pick for the Legion side. They'll be countered by a Warbeast on the Hellborn team, so all of a sudden the Hellborn looking really, really pushy here. We got two minion heroes with Tempest and Warbeast. Obviously the War Cry, or the Battle Cry, or whatever the hell it's called from Warbeast, will assist the Tempest minions in giving them a little bit of bonus damage. We have the Torture, Impalement, and then Warbeast himself. A lot of tower push on the Hellborn team, and it wouldn't be surprising to see them group up early and often to try to take out map control and get a lot of gold from those tower kills. Legion side have some pretty decent push of their own, obviously, with the Keeper of the Forest and with potentially their fifth pick. We'll see who it is. But I wouldn't mind a Soul Stealer here, to be honest, and I feel like it's going to pair well with the Kraken, the Bubbles, and the Keeper, all of whom have a lot of lockdown. They lack a bit of damage with this current lineup, and it's going to be a Flint instead, so that's interesting. Not a hero that we see very often. He's gotten picked up a couple of times, but for the most part, stays out of the competitive scene, mostly because of how difficult he is to keep alive. And Shuriken's connecting. Okay. Just not a hero that tends to do what he needs to in these fights, which is sit in the back and right-click auto-attack. And you look at the Hellborn team, they've got two PK heroes and a Warbeast that can get right up in Flint's face. So a bit of an interesting pick right there, but it's strange. Apparently Shuriken casted this already, but that's fine because he didn't cover Game 1, so still covering Game 2. It's alright. But speaking of Shuriken, this actually Solaire Club lineup might look pretty familiar to him, because this is a typical sneak push type strat that PI likes to run. They pick up the Prisoner, the Tempest, and the Torture early on, three good heroes that pair well together, and then all of a sudden the addition of the Warbeast and the Soul Reaver makes this a heavy, heavy push lineup. And that's one more instance where I kind of would have preferred the Soul Stealer. The Demon Hands would have provided them with a pretty significant amount of D-push, and that's something that it might need here. Obviously the Flare from Flint will help, And the Thunder Blast, the Bubbles, Shell Surf, they have potential to stop the pushes on the Hellborn side, but I think SolC would have fit that a little bit better. Would have had a slightly more reliable damage output than the Flint will, and a little bit more AoE as well, which is something they don't have too much of. They have a fair bit, but not a ridiculous amount, and considering this is likely to evolve into a lot of 5v5 team fights, I feel like SolSealer's burst magical damage and his AoE output is going to be more valuable than Flint's largely single target damage. But RmR, they have heard the rumors about Solaire Club and their tendency to take Kongor early on. You can see the ward getting dropped right there from the Forgotten One, specifically to spot the potential of a Kongor kill. And they won't find that, of course, because it's not going down, but you look at the Hellborn team and they definitely have the potential to do so. Obviously, Warbeast can spawn minions, and then Tempest can convert one into elementals. The Soul Reaper spam heal, the Torture, Impalement, lots of potential damage for a Kongor kill early on in this game, but not going to go to their typical formula, and instead will be hanging out with a number of push heroes in various lanes. I expect to see the Warbeast Suicide, and that's what's going to happen with Army of Mums. And middle lane, it's going to be the Prisoner, likely by himself. Yeah, it looks like he's alone. In the top lane, it's going to be Torture and Soul Reaper with a Tempest in the woods. Keeper Dogs are going to try to get the pull off right here with the creeps, but getting blocked out fairly effectively, and it looks like Tempest can finish this one off before it can successfully pull, so not bad. And it's actually going to be a Suicide Kraken here on the Legion side as well. And Ball's typically their mid player. Q-Zane is usually the Legion side's jungler, I think. The reason that this is a little bit weird is because they're missing cookies, and Staff is a stand-in, so perhaps having to switch some stuff up. Obviously, Ball's played the mid Prisoner last game as well, so this may just be a comfort factor thing. Apparently, I'm connecting too. I don't know why. Why am I connecting to this game? Did I cast it with him? It's possible I might have casted this again. I forget. Yeah, because this might have been shorthand casting and then I joined him to co-cast. Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened, so I might be casting and then recasting this game. That's kind of funny. That's something I didn't even realize. Oh well. We'll see what I had to say about this game that I didn't have to say before. Look at that. Look how rude I am. So rude. That's just unnecessary is what that is. There we go. This is really enjoyable. Sorry, this is real weird for me. Anyway, top lane, Ball's not getting too much, no huge surprise there. Torture, one of the better zoning supports in that lane, and he will continuously keep this Kraken boxed out as Canadorf gets pretty much free farm on this Soul Reaper 270 GPM. Shut up, Tinker. Middle lane, Bubbles taking on the Prisoner still, and just wins at 220 gold per minute. Q-Zane 265. No huge surprise there. Bubbles tends to destroy Prisoner, as his Shackle does not stop him from porting out with the Shell Surf, and obviously the Take Cover can essentially easily stop the hook. So he will leave the Shackle right there, and we'll see if this is enough to do anything substantial to Q-Zane. Doesn't look like it is, so Bubbles is totally fine in the middle lane and should continue to outfarm this Prisoner as well as maintain rune control. And bottom lane, Army of Mums at 69 GPM, so we've seen him play the Suicide Warbeast a couple of times. I don't think it's gone particularly well any of the times he's tried it. So we'll see if things go differently in the future, but at least for the current time period, 0 CS, pretty easily an indication that this thing is not going well, and it might in fact go worse. There's the freeze, and Army of Mums will be taking a death right here. Pingu getting the last hit on that Flint. And that's not what you want, as usual. So, once again, things going poorly in the early going for Solaire Club, as they're down about 1,000 experience and 1,000 gold. Now, a lot less concerning than it was last game. They don't necessarily need to have the same amazing early game start, especially because they can recover so fast on the gold side with their push. They'd obviously still like to do well early, and especially losing the experience could potentially be a problem because they're not going to come out ahead in experience. When they start grouping up as 5 and taking down towers, they're going to have some pretty serious experience deficits, and earlier on in the game that's going to matter more. So we'll see if that experience gap is going to be sufficient to allow RmR to successfully de-push this Hellborn team. Nice kind of word there from Forgotten One. Once again playing Glacius and doing quite well, obviously. Sets with the Bloodlust in the bottom lane. And shut up, tanker. Stop mocking me. 420? $420 and 69%. Okay. Yes. I call those numbers into question, Tanker. I don't think they're accurate. Something about them that seems a little bit off. Legions, I do have a gold advantage here, but I don't think it's that substantial. I don't think it's, what, like 4 or 5 times or whatever. Anyway. Or 6 times. It's close to 6 times. I can math, you guys, I promise. Torching at the pull-off right here, and that's going to continue to screw with this Kraken. It means that the Hellborn team will be able to maintain some lane control, but actually, not bad. But then you see the double archer wave coming through, and it's likely that the lane control they just got with that pull is immediately going to go away, but they can actually turn this into a tower kill, so I'd like to see them get a little more aggressive, and it looks like that's what they're going to do here, as they have a pretty substantial creep wave coming in. And no catapult, they don't have one for their 2 minutes, but it's going to be a good amount of tower damage here, and that's going to set them up later on for a much easier creep kill. So yeah, pretty much exactly what you want to do right here. If you're the SolC side, you want to see if you can take this tower relatively early on, and especially without having to commit too many resources to it, because simultaneously Tempest could be farming the woods. He is coming in right here, but I mean, teleport as well. I don't know if Soul Reaper didn't see it or not, but actually no, chain reaction that it will be cancelled. And it looks like the Hellborn really want to start pushing this tower significantly. They do have a cannon in this wave. I thought it was another minute and a half, so shows you what I know. But this is going to be potentially a big push for the Hellborn team, and they need to start doing this. They're actually not going to be too far ahead, down in experience, so they managed to make up that gap a little bit. But still a bit down in gold, and they can push that heavily in their favor with some pretty good tower kills. We do see the Legion side well aware that that's their plan, though, and a double damage bubbles is going to hang out up here. We'll see if they can get anything out of this. Level 6 on both him and Kraken, so there's a lot of ult potential on their side, as well as the Hellborn side for that matter. They have a Tempest ult and Soul Reaper ultimate available. So not out of the question that we see a significant engagement right here that could determine whether or not this push succeeds or fails. Soul Reaper here getting heal, getting tossed everywhere. We're going to see another teleport come in. Help field available, going to hit on a 2. Kraken ultimate is not there quite yet. Soul Reaper just takes the stun, release the Kraken, go on to Tempest. That's going to allow him to not ult, and Soul Reaper going to try to keep him alive. Going to get charged out of it, though. Tempest is going to get the kill onto Kraken. They also lose the bubbles as the Soul Reaper ulti comes out, and Glacius not the support that they necessarily needed in this top lane. So 2 dead in favor of Solaire Club. Nice deny on the tower from Glacius. That's not easy to do against 3 heroes and a bunch of elementals, but he gets it off with a pretty timely auto attack. Meanwhile, bottom lane, similar stuff goes down as the Keeper of the Forest joins the Flint. Flare obviously helping. They lose the mid tower at the same time, so Prisoner, the only hero on the Hellborn team that isn't like a really obvious push hero, is the one that takes a tower down by himself in the middle lane. Obviously, ooh, Army of Moms just barely gonna survive down here. Headshot, not enough. That's what it's called, right? Money shot, sorry. That's a little dirty, S2. Money shot. So it's going to be a push in the top lane, no huge surprise, as this is what they want to do. They want to get aggressive on these towers and take map control away. They're starting it out in the top lane. This will give them a good gold lead, and hopefully it'll turn into an Astrolabe for this Tempest. That's likely that's what I would like to see relatively early, as that'll allow them to continue to push, and then they can get some more valuable towers in the middle and bottom lanes, as these top towers are good, but this tier 2 for the Legion might actually be the least valuable tower in the entire game, to be honest. At least the long lane towers to the Hellborn give them some access to the Kongor pit, but this tower is just completely useless for the most part. At least in terms of map control. They will hit the hook on the Kraken. He's going to die to the Soul Reaper Judgment. And they also lose the tower up here. No deny for Glacius, although he got close on that one as well. And the Hellborn going to try to keep pushing. This is a little bit aggressive, especially considering they don't have their whole team. But Glacius gets hooked back in. He's dead. Judgment doing a lot of damage to him. Keeper of the Forest going to try to back this off a little bit with his dogs. And the Hellborn really have no reason to stop pushing this now that they have 2 heroes out on the Legion side. Kraken coming back up, though, with the release of Kraken. And they only have 4 heroes. They're currently missing the War Beast. They're going to hit the hook onto Keeper, but he drops the rune onto everybody. Still going to die thanks to the Soul Reaper ultimate. But the Kelpfield is on to 4. Staff going to fall first. There goes the release Kraken. Going to help with Solaire Club on Cannondorf. And Nubaknu going to die to the stun as well. All of a sudden, Prisoner in a lot of trouble. Actually gets pushed up the cliff. And Pengu looking for the ultimate. Actually, no, he died somehow. Anyway, it will be a death on Prisoner anyway, so it's a quad kill for Bubbles as he picks up 370 GPM. The defense is successful for Q-Zane and his buddies, as that Kelpfield did a crap ton of work. Army Bums in the bottom lane, getting some free time because the forced rotation to the top lane, that's going to result in some more farm for this War Beast, 222 GPM for him. That's not bad. And he'll put some good damage in this bottom tower. Now, Hellborn don't have too much in the way of ultimates anymore. They obviously still have the Metamorphosis from War Beast. It's called, yeah. And they have the Prisoner ultimate, but no Tempest Hole for 2 minutes now. And Judgment should be back by the time they're ready to push, so we'll see if they continue to get aggressive or if they're going to back off and play it safe. I would advise that they continue to try to take down towers. That's really what their lineup is built to do. You can see Tempest going for the Astrolabe as opposed to even having boots right now. So really that they need to do is group up and continue to make work out of these items and the hero picks that they've taken, which are really, really good early game push heroes. And it looks like Kongor might in fact be the objective, which is fine. Having a Token of Life obviously will be extremely helpful, and Soul Reaper a very good token carrier, so presumably it will be on him. Kongor obviously going down really quickly with all of the minion damage. The stomps are going to be annoying, but the continuous Soul Reaper heals are there, and Kongor falling real quick. So, going to be a token up onto Soul Reaper. Going to be very, very difficult to kill him, so likely the Legion side will focus heroes other than the Soul Reaper. The problem with that, of course, is that he's going to continuously throw out those Judgment heals. And that just becomes a pretty serious issue for the Hellborn team when trying to kill anybody. And all of a sudden, we see 4 heroes grouped up in the bottom lane, looking to push down some towers. Top tower falls at the same time, so for all the good push that the Hellborn side has managed to accomplish, the Legion are actually doing a fair bit of themselves. Middle lane, Kelpfield onto Torture. We'll see if they have enough damage to finish him off. They do, as Q-Zane picks up that kill, but he could be in some trouble as a result. The Tempest minions dealing a lot of damage, but they're not fast enough to chase him down and kill him. And I'm not really sure why Torture was in the middle lane, I suppose, trying to defend this tower for at least a little bit. And we'll back them off for a short period, but I still think this is going to be a dead tower in the middle lane, as we see Keeper of the Forest coming in here with his tree dogs. And so the split push is actually very successful here from RmR. The Hellborn team are successfully pushing down towers, but I mean, this tier 2 in the top lane already at about a third of its health. And we're seeing some tower trading going on in the bot and the middle lanes. So RmR says, fine, you want to push? You can push. We're going to split push. And they're actually doing it somewhat more effectively than the Hellborn team is, despite the fact that the Hellborn should have the push advantage, it seems like. We're looking at a relatively even golden experience lead, so it's not like the Legion have a whole bunch more in terms of resources that's allowing them to push this much faster. It's just a judicious use of heroes and stuff in lane. Keeper of the Forest is gonna die. That Judgment doing a lot of damage to him, and I was kind of surprised. I figured he'd be a little bit tankier than that, but gets caught out in the river. No trees to invis next to, and creates a bit of a problem. Torture coming back in here, and they're going to push down this middle lane, so continuing to apply pressure is the Solaire Club team, and this is the right call. This is what they have to do. This is how they itemized, and this is how they drafted, so if they don't do it, then they're going to lose. And we should be seeing a tier 2 fall in this middle lane relatively quickly and easily. Meantime, Kraken and Flint in the top are going to do what they can to this top tower. By the way, Flint going for the Thunderclaw, so that's a pushing item, to be honest. I mean, that's going to do a lot to these waves. It's going to provide some wave play that the Legion have a good amount of, but not a ridiculous amount of. Meanwhile, top lane Glacius trying to outrun this Prisoner, gets the freeze down, and here's Bubbles with the follow-up as well. They're going to go a little bit man fight here, and neither Prisoner nor Bubbles really wants to continue that. So Keeper Dog trying to drive the creep wave away, but they will get killed right there, and they'll come back in. Tier 3 tower being pressured for the Hellborn side, and this is again falling very, very quickly, obviously, with all the minion damage, with the Torture Impalement. This is going to be a Tier 3 tower kill. And this is another 4-man Kelpfield right there. We'll see if they have anything else. Keeper the Forest Root coming in on 5 heroes. Release the Kraken as well, hitting 2. 3 already dead on the side of the... Sorry, 2 are dead on the Hellborn. There goes Prisoner as well. That's going to be 3. Now they're trying to chase down the Soul Reaper and Warbeast. Warbeast will get away with his ultimate, but Soul Reaper, no such ability. Gonna die. Does finally get the counter kill onto the Forgotten One, but it's going to be a token bringing him right back up. And he should be falling once again as he has no capacity to get away from these heroes. Finds himself in a little cranny. Gonna try to TP on out. Can they stop it? Yes, they can. Immediate headshot from Flint Beastwood. And he's going to put the ultimate down there as well. That'll finish off the kill. So Pingu picking up 550 GPM. I didn't even realize how well he was farming. Bubbles, similar, really, really good farm. And obviously the multitude of tower kills on the Legion side helping those GPMs out. But Pingu is just farming really, really well. 87 CS in 14 minutes is quite good. And the Legion side now going to counter with some pushes of their own. So the Hellborn lose a pretty big team fight right there. And that's going to result in possibly them losing a Tier 2 tower here, although everybody's coming back in. Pingu's going to get hit by the Prisoner ultimate. This should result in him being killed. Yeah, oh, going to get invis, not going to be enough. And Torture trying to chase down the Kraken, but Kraken's like, yeah, your impalement's over, buddy. Chain reactions go through. That's going to stop. Yeah, so neither of them wanting to continue this. And Stand March actually picked off by the Shell Surf, so nicely placed by Q-Zane. Both of these heroes now have to get out. Shackle will prevent Keeper from invising himself, and he's going to fall as a result. So Staff gets the invis onto Bubbles, but pays for it himself. Bubbles should be able to PK out no trouble. By the way, I'm pretty sure Tinker's making up stats about RmR Mums and his Warbeast. Pretty sure. I don't know, maybe he keeps Gold Division stats and hasn't told anybody, including me. I don't know why, but it's possible. Yeah. Well, Flint gonna finish off Firebrand, it looks like here. He's already got Thunderclaw. Well, it could be an Nullfire Blade too, to be honest. I kind of doubt it, but it's possible. He also has that Elder Parasite, so his attack speed is going to be very high when he has that going. And that's going to be more and more lightning. Bree's going to go through onto Soul Reaper, also going to be silenced, release the Kraken, and Ganondorf is dead. And meanwhile, there goes Bubbles, Kelpfield onto 2. Torture looking for some follow-up with the chain reactions. Can't really find it. Ashlab goes out from the Tempest as they get the portal key on out. Looks like the Hellborn team trying to disengage. Kraken looking for a jump onto Warbeast. He has access to his ultimate in 10 seconds, but that's not now, and he could get chased down and potentially killed. I think he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Yeah, Pingu charging up the ultimate. That's going to be a dead army of bombs. Meanwhile, next target is Torture as Q-Zane goes on top of him, but actually gets pulled back in by the Prisoner. He drops the Shell Surf, and that's going to be death on Q-Zane. Like they did lose Juiceman in the meantime, and another one fight there for the Legion side. As they continue to do much better in these engagements than the Hellborn. Kraken with a nice charge, and it looks like we're going to see a pretty easy kill on the Tempest right here. Pingu with another kill. Hat-trick for him, and that's ultimate. Obviously such a short cooldown, such a large amount of damage, and it's doing a lot of work in these fights. And that's once again going to be a counter push for the Legion team. As the Flare hits, keep the Forest Dogs doing a lot, and the Wave Clear from the Thunderclaw very, very helpful. So with all those deaths, Legion side going to take their second Tier 2 of the game, and actually even up the tower kills. So despite the heavy push from the Hellborn team, they haven't really been able to get it going in terms of effectively bringing down buildings. Now, I mean, this mid-Tier 3 is really low, the top Tier 3 is pretty low, and so once they get back into the base, they have the potential to do a lot more damage. But the Hellborn are going to work on the last outer tower for the Legion side. And there goes Prisoner on top of the Flint. Has the Shackle down, but I don't think this is going to be a kill as he pops the Elder Parasite to run away faster. They do get the Glacial Blast onto Tempest, but they're going to have to try something. And there goes the Kraken onto 2. There's the Keeper of the Forest Root as well. And that's going to stop the Tempest ult immediately with a headshot. There goes Stand March on the Torture, as well as Noob McNoob. Glacial Downpour doing a ton of damage. Is he even going to die for this? No, he's not. The Kelpfield locking everybody down. It's a hat-trick for Q-Zane once again, and that's a genocide in favor of the Legion side. They use all of their ultimates to great effect. Nobody on their team dying, even the Glacius keeping himself alive despite sitting there and channeling that ultimate for a good 3 or 4 seconds. And that's going to be another Tier 2 tower for the Legion team, and possibly a base tower right here. Looks like a couple of their heroes want to back off, though, so they will leave. Glacius trying to prevent these Warbeast Wolf from doing too much, but they in fact will expire, and it's not that big a deal. Flint picking up the Helm. So this is going to be a relatively tanky Flint Beastwood. And that's fine. Obviously the Portal Key on both Tempest and Prisoner, they're really trying to focus him. I do feel like between Keeper, Kraken, Bubbles, they should be able to keep him alive without a Helm. Especially with an item like the Firebrand and the Elder Parasite that allow him to run away from a lot of these engagements. So I'm not really a huge fan of that Helm pickup right there, but I understand why he got it. Meanwhile, double damage Bubbles gonna destroy this Torturer. No chance that he could get out. Let me just TP's away, and he will be just fine. Using yet another pick-off. He's nearing 500 GPM. Pingu has crossed the 600 GPM mark, and the Hellborn team full of heroes with some decent farm. Nobody with particularly great farm, though. And they sort of wanted to have more than this. Meanwhile, Staff could potentially be caught out up here. He gets hooked right back in, and there's the Shackle as well to finish him off, as his Invis isn't going to be very helpful against an ability that reveals targets. So, not bad stuff yet again from the Hellborn side. They're finding pickoffs here and there. The issue is they can't seem to break base, as the Legion side's D-push apparently is sufficient between the Flare, the Thunderblast, the Shell Surf, and the Keeper Dogs, distracting the creep wave. And I think it seems like they have found a recipe that works for this amount of push. Anyway, Bubble's going to find 2. Kelphiel only hits onto 1, as for some reason they really hate Stand March. And in fact, Warbeast is the one that's going to fall. Nice take cover on the chain reactions, and he's going to try to drop the Impalement, but it's not going to be nearly enough. Pingu picking up yet another double tap, as he's 9-2 and 8, Qzane 12-2 and 6, and these two heroes responsible for a lot of the work on the Legion team. Although, I mean, just because everybody else has inferior KDAs doesn't mean they haven't been useful. They really haven't been playing this very well as a team. Candorf going to get picked off right there thanks to the crack initiation, so thank you for proving my point right there, boss. As they're going to get the freeze onto Tempest as well, and Glacius, yet again, setup that is not from either of those heroes, so they just happen to be getting a lot of the kills, but it's going to be a base push here. Kraken taking some damage, but it looks like they'll be able to take this tier 3 tower down, as the Hellborn don't have too much opportunity to do something. There's a Portal Key in, and Tempest's going to be able to lock down Pingu, but he actually pops the Geometer's Bane. That's going to prevent a lot of the debuff, and there's the ultimate from Keeper. Everybody going to die in the Hellborn team. Army of Moms just barely does get his ultimate off, but dies just after. Buyback on Prisoner, as they have to desperately defend this base push, but they still have 5 heroes available on the Legion side. Only the Keeper route is down. And the Kelphiel also not available, but that was used much earlier, so he'll be back soon. Kraken gonna miss the charge right there. Release the Kraken onto a couple in the background, as Cannondor from the Soul Reaper is gonna fall thanks to the freeze. Tempest getting caught, and he will die. So will Jismin. And they're calling GG's again, as they lose the Genocide once again. Tempest Hall onto 4 heroes, not gonna be stopped, but this is not great. Meteor's doing some damage, and Kraken actually is gonna die to it, but it really doesn't matter, as Bubble's going to get on out of there. He actually has an Incendiarius? No, I don't know what the hell that was that got him all healed, but oh, it was the Astrolabe from Keeper Forest. So regardless, that's going to be a 2-0 victory for Ride My Rocket, as they take both games in under 45 minutes. Not bad at all, and showing some pretty solid dominance for a team that hasn't been together for too long. That's a really good series, and a statement series, I think you can say, from the guys on RmR, including the fact they don't have their full 5-man, I believe, staff, again, just ringing for this series, maybe even just for the cycle, but typically Cookies is another member of this RmR squad. So Solaire Club, a good team, and a team that if you can dispatch this easily may bode some pretty surprisingly good things for RmR in the future. That means they also will move on to the Losers Bracket Finals match, and they are 1 series victory away from advancing to Diamond Division for the next cycle. Solaire Club going to bow out here in 3rd place, and I think that is one of their highest finishes so far in HoN Tour, so I don't think they can be particularly upset about how the entire cycle went for them, but kind of got to feel like they lost some stuff in this last series. They're probably too good to get beaten that badly, and maybe not feeling it that day. I liked their draft in the 2nd game, but it didn't seem like they were able to execute it all that well. I don't know if they have a lot of practice with the draft, but it didn't seem like they really had done it too much before. So maybe they did, maybe they didn't, and this was just a bad day for them. Certainly Game 1 was a very bad day for them, so it's also possible they were extremely demoralized after a crushing defeat in the first game of this series. either way, they should be feeling good about how their team has progressed over the last couple of cycles, and should be entering Cycle 7 with their heads held high as the third place team here for this. No, sorry, fourth place team, because this is the losers bracket finals loser, and this. So then this is the fourth place finish for them. But should afford them some solid seeding for the next cycle of Gold Division, and perhaps they can advance even further next time around. We'll have to wait and see as they will bow out. RmR can advance, and that's going to do it for this series and this cast today. So thanks for joining, guys. Congrats to RmR taking it 2-0, and they will be moving on, as I said, like 4 times now.